evening and welcome to SMNI. You're watching Business and Politics. I'm your host, Dante Klinkam. Our topic tonight is agriculture, a vital but underperforming sector. Nearly half of the Filipinos reside in rural areas, and yet agriculture contributes less than 10% to the national economy. That not only affects growth, but also programs meant to eradicate poverty. As everyone knows, reviving the sector is a top national agenda. That is why President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. himself assumed the role of Secretary of Agriculture, concurrent with his position as head of state. But it has not been easy even for the president. To understand why, we have invited Danilo Fausto, a dairy farmer, investment banker, and civic leader. More relevantly for this program, he is the national president of the Philippine Chamber of Agriculture and Food Incorporated. He's also the national chairman of the Dairy Confederation of the Philippines, the umbrella organization of all dairy federations and cooperatives in the country, convener of the Agriculture and Fisheries Alliance, member of the advisory board of the Philippine Carabao Center, member of the board of Water Security Advocacy Incorporated, founder of the Talavera Dairy Cooperative, and lastly, chairman and president of the DVF Dairy Farm Incorporated, involved in the production and processing and marketing of fresh Carabao's milk and other dairy products. We'll ask Mr. Fausto, how do we fix a problem like agriculture? Mr. Fausto? Mr. Fausto, welcome to Business and Politics. Thank you for making time, sir. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Klink.
Sir, when we met at the Manila Times Forum on Sustainability, you made a presentation about the agricultural sector. It's seemingly so complex, so overwhelming. Where do we start? Where can we start? Maybe from your perspective, from the chamber's perspective, where do we begin to fix the problem?
Well, there's been quite discussion already on the challenges and problems of agriculture, and some suggestions on how this could be addressed. But perhaps what I think is we should focus first on the basic essentials.
Okay.
Our staple goods as well as staple products like rice, corn, and meat.
Okay.
Of course, fisheries.
Those are the key.
The basics.
Yeah.
And our basic problem is productivity.
Okay.
And to do that, the basic element is just irrigation.
Okay.
Proper irrigation. We have fertilizers or fertilization and hybrid seeds.
Right.
In all crops, we need good seeds to be able to produce a good yield for our crops. In terms of irrigation, we are now about 65%. From 61, we're now 65% irrigated area. Okay. But we are challenged because we are a nation of islands, and we cannot just build dams everywhere because we have small islands. Right. So we need small irrigation to be able to support the other irrigation system that we need. Some also we will need electricity and power for our post-harvest. 75% of our rice, if we're talking about rice, comes from irrigated areas. Now, the question is, the President has targeted a 97.5% sufficiency level.
Yes.
That's a good target, and I think it's doable.
Okay.
And he also matched it with Masagana 150.
Okay.
Just to explain what it's all about, just improving our efficiency in converting palay into rice. Right now, the big millers, the rice millers, are converting palay to rice by about 55% level, 55 to 60%
efficiency.
level. Yeah. But other countries can convert it to 70%.
Oh, wow.
Now, okay. I'm trying to put forward a proposal to have mini agro-industrial facilities in all barangays. It will not involve too much.
Okay.
It will involve rice dryers, rice milling, small rice milling, these small areas, and then you have the warehouse and a forward truck to deliver the product.
Right.
And this can be done also with corn. If we have seen palay not already being spread or sun-dried in roads, and
Right.
then we have improved. No?
Okay.
We need about 2 to 3 million just for one mini agro-industrial facility. And I'm proposing all about 10% of our barangays. We have 42,000 barangays.
Okay.
If we can have about 4,000 mini agro-industrial facilities in these barangays, concentrated in areas where they are planted and where
Okay.
they harvested
Right.
rice for Central Luzon, Cagayan Valley, Ilocos Sur, and perhaps Ilocos Norte, Ilocos region.
Right.
And for corn, Northern Mindanao, Isaac-Sargen, and so
Okay.
on. No? This will be concentrated in these areas. And the thing is, our experience is that if you have one variety being milled,
Okay.
you can convert palay by 70% if you're the one milling it.
Okay.
But if you deliver your palay to a big rice mill,
Okay.
then it's considered as a mixed or they call it rumble. No?
Okay.
With a
So
rumble,
consolidated, yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it's consolidated different varieties.
Yeah.
Then you get about 55% recovery.
Okay.
And the rice bran also goes to the rice miller.
Right.
And some other for feeds, no?
Yeah.
They call it patuka, no?
Right.
And the rice husk,
Okay.
which is used as an ingredient for raw materials for power generation.
Okay.
But if you have your own rice mill,
Okay.
and you can have your own rice brand and you can recover 70%
Okay.
to rice. Our production last year is 19.7 million metric tons of palay.
Okay.
Our requirement based on the computation of 118.8 per capita consumption of rice.
Okay.
If we will have we will have a 55% recovery.
Okay.
We will need about 24 million metric tons of palay.
So we don't have enough. Yeah.
Now, with 19.7 million metric tons,
Okay.
at 55%, but if you can do it at 70%,
Then
you
you need to
already be
import
sufficient.
less. Yeah.
Now let's go now to the Masagana 150, the
Okay.
production. Our average is about 80 to 90 kabans per
Okay.
hectare. Okay. We are now using, based on the rice competitiveness enhancement fund, a good inbred rice from pill rice that can produce 100 to 120 kabans. This is usually planted during wet season,
Okay.
rainy season. Because the productive tiller is something about 25 productive tiller, the one that brings up the fruit of the
Right.
palay.
Right.
But you have a hybrid during the dry period. There are two croppings, the
I
dry
see.
period and the wet period. During the dry period, you can use a hybrid rice, which
Okay.
can produce 200 to 220 kabans.
Right.
So 100 to 200, you average it 150 a year
Right.
per hectare. And that, just to get even 50%, doing the Masagana 150, averaging 100 kabans and 200 kabans, wet season, dry season,
Right.
you have a 150, we will more than enough sufficient in rice. So that's why, that's I think the formula. As long as we are supported by good fertilizer and irrigation, I hope not with the El Nino that is coming.
Yeah.
So that is now the key: fertilizer, irrigation, and seeds,
Right.
the hybrid seeds.
Let me ask a follow-up question in two parts. One, why is it not happening? What's needed to supply you with the fertilizer and the seeds? You say we were talking at the forum, and you were saying that there are solutions at the macro level, and then when it gets to the implementation, then that's where you encounter problems.
That's the devil, yes.
And the second question, and I'll remind you later if you forget, is as a step back. Do we actually pursue rice production where we evidently lack the competitive advantage? President Marcos said we should because he sees it as a
Staple.
strategic crop. It's a staple, right? But I was wondering, if we should go the way of, say, Taiwan, which has shifted to higher value crops, right? And then focus on that rather than trying to do something that is obviously too costly, too difficult, too complicated. But on the first part, You mentioned the things that should be done: fertilizer, equipment. What needs to be done now? Because obviously there's a recognition of the need. We've been hearing that from policymakers. What needs to happen to make it reality?
Well, you do not have to replace rice with high-value crops with the same land. No?
Okay.
We have 3.65 million hectares of coconut areas.
Okay.
That is 88% of that is monocrop, meaning coconut.
One crop, yeah.
There's we can have an intercropping, or we can have a canopy plantation within the coconut.
So coconut and rice?
Yeah, no, not rice. We maintain what is being planted with rice of 4 point something million hectares. But we are talking now of diversification.
Right.
Because we are rice-centric, all the budget is in rice.
Right.
What we can say is just let's improve on the production of rice by having this hybrid rice, hybrid seeds, and irrigation and fertilization.
Okay.
We'll talk about the biofertilizer later. Is another issue. But we can go into diversification through the coconut plantations. This is about a quarter of our land is being planted with coconut, and 88% is monocrop.
What would be a suitable crop to plant with coconuts? I heard pepper. Is that a good one?
The best is coffee and cacao.
Coffee and cacao.
We can have also livestock, no?
Okay.
Dairy, we can have corn in between, or forage, or we can have them as grazing. The problem with coconut is about 75% of our coconut areas is about 2 hectares and below.
Okay.
So we need the consolidation
of
the coconut. And we are only producing in coconut about 44 nuts when we can produce 90 to 100 nuts per tree, with 345 million trees, as against the other countries that's producing it.
Right.
And that needs, we need replacement of the old coconut trees. And as I said, we go to intercropping, and there's a lot of things you can do in between.
Right.
Because, for example, coffee and cacao is really for the forest. It needs, it doesn't need much rain, much sunlight.
I see.
So we can compete on coffee and cacao. We are one of the best cacao chocolate maker in the world. We always win awards in Europe. So that's not, we do not have to exchange high-value crops.
You don't have to give up
rice.
the rice.
Yes, we continue with the rice because this is our staple. And that is doable. The production of rice is doable. Now the thing is how to increase now the income of the farmer. With diversification, we go to the coconut because the coconut farmers, that is where most of our farmers that live below poverty level.
Coconut.
O sa coconut plantation. So we need to bring them up. The rice farmers are doing okay. So with these mini agro-industrial centers or facilities, it can go to rice, coconut areas, vegetables, fruits, and we can also diversify it in fruits. By next year, I would suppose we should be hitting upper middle income level in terms of per capita. Now, as we increase income of people, the consumption, the income that they use to consumption food decreases. They consume less of carbohydrates. They consume more of fruits, vegetables, and meat. So that's an opportunity. For those that are not on that level, that do not have still spending about 60% of their income in food and non-alcoholic beverage, then the government now can enter just what they have proposed now, the food stamps. One is for the 30% and below income. But my proposal to the food stamp, it has to be an economic stimulus for the food stamp, meaning all foods that could be given to those people, given the vouchers or what, should only consume locally produced products.
To help the farmers,
for an economic stimulus. Imported products should not be part of the economic stimulus or the food stamp. That's one of the proposal. Another issue is smuggling. Most of the smuggling is done on a misdeclaration. So I congratulate the President for thinking of having an inspection before it is loaded on the ship on the point of origin. And also, there's a possibility that on the point of origin, that's where you pay your
Right.
invoice.
So you eliminate the corruption here.
Oh,
Yeah.
so and there, so when the point of origin, you already know what is being loaded on the ship.
right.
It also prevents the incoming of diseases and pests or whatever, the phytosanitary
Right.
protection.
Right.
Now, when the ship is on the sea,
Right.
we would like to have an advance copy. The Department of Agriculture and the Bureau of Customs should have an advance copy of the shipping manifest so that we will know what is inside the ship and the cargoes inside the ship.
Right.
When it arrives here, the first border quarantine facility should be in place. The budget has been given to the Department of Agriculture to put that in place already. It's been for several years already there.
Okay.
It has to accelerate the implementation of the first border quarantine facilities. And then, moving forward, we would like to request that all warehouses and cold storage facilities be registered before they are allowed to operate so that we will know what's inside the storage. And we can have warehouse receipts, just like in Decadan before, which can be used as collateral for those farmers who do not have good price yet, or poultry or chicken. They can store first the chicken in the cold storage facility before they have good prices, and they can move and sell it better.
I have to take a quick break, but before we go, how far away from that? 100%, 50%, 75%? How are we? Okay, I think we got the answer right there. We'll be right back with Business and Politics. We're talking to Mr. Danny Fausto.